Hey guys, you've joined us live at Moneycontrol. I'm Manisha Gupta, and in string of notifications that came in last night, the government also has extended the lower duty for edible oil imports until March 2025. Now, the street was half expecting it, but was hoping that not to happen. But what are the repercussions of this is what we will understand from Mr. Sandeep Barjoria, who is CEO Sunvin Group. Mr. Barjoria, hi. We've seen the edible oil prices decline by nearly 30 to 40% in last 1 year. There haven't really been any inflation concerns as far as the edible oil as a sector goes. And then we are also looking at a good mustard crop. The crushing for soy is also on. So there were actually no concerns. But how do you see this one full year of extension coming in?
Manisha, the latest inflation data which was published last week itself said edible oil group is minus 15%. That is one of the biggest groups showing such a big minus trend in the price. And it is cooling down price so much. It is 10-year low price in India of veg oil right now. But government in its own wisdom, because overall all the products put together, cereals, pulses, vegetables, spices, these segments are going up. While edible oil is minus 15%, so they somehow want to keep the overall number of the inflation under in the public eye as a moderate one. And that's why they continued with this concessional duty for one more year from 1st April 24 to 31st March 25. So we are now going to be having 5.5% duty on all the crude oil, that is palm oil, soy oil, sunflower oil, and on the refined palmoline, the duty is going to be 13.75%. So this is one way good as far as consumers are concerned, but it is bad from the point of view of overall industry and farmers and the trade. And ultimately, this is going to hamper the oilseed production in the country because farmer is not going to get a attractive price for his oilseeds. So his incentive to grow more is not going to last there. So our self-sufficiency in vegetable oils, which is only hardly 40-45% and 55% we need to import, will continue as it is. And 16.5 million ton worth about $15 billion import of veg oil, which has taken place in the last 12 months. I estimate similar kind of import in coming year as well. And domestic production is not going to be more than 100 lakh tons, where imports are going to be 165 lakh tons. So on his own wisdom, we can understand the compulsion of politics, compulsion of elections right now in front of government. And that's the reason they have taken these kind of steps across all the agri-commodities. Manisha, you have been mastering all the agri-commodities from pulses, wheat, rice, sugar, and everything. So you see them, even in molasses, they put 50% export duty. So the exports of wheat is not allowed, right? Rice is just export of sugar is not allowed. Molasses, there is a 50% duty. Pulses are imported, zero duty. Edible oil are imported, 5.5% duty. So or whatever food items are there, government is not letting their export freely. Or they are putting a very high export duty.
Yes.
And whatever items which are imported, they are putting at a very
cheaper, lower level of duties there. So, Mr. Barjoria, this is a larger picture. Well, absolutely, a very comprehensive picture that you just painted for everybody who's watching you right now. But tell me, the markets where the government does not want to take chances with inflation right now in this year. How are you? My question really is, last year we've seen almost 17 million tons of edible oil imports. Do please correct me onto that one. What has been an average for the Indian markets, and do you think that this higher imports will continue into India this time as well?
Yes, Manisha, these were record imports which we saw last year, 16.5 to 17 million tons of worth $15 billion. And I'm sure next year also we will have same kind of import, although we have slightly better mustard crop. But overall local production of veg oil is not going to be more than 100 lakh tons. So 165 to 170 lakh tons import is inevitable. Total consumption in India is right now 265 lakh tons at about 18.5 kgs per person per year. So that is going to be the norm now. And it's okay. We can understand this compulsion with the government. We are, as an industry association, as industry representative, we are only going to take our chance after the elections are over and again the government is reformed. So then we are going to present our case requesting that situation warrants now 2 years government has taken great care of consumers. Now government need to rebalance the whole situation And rebalancing means all the people in value chain, that is farmers, processors, importers, and consumers, and the government. Everybody finds a holistic solutions. So after the elections are over and results are over, somewhere in June, July, again we'll have to approach the government and ask two things specifically. Number one is overall import duty rate has to increase by at least 15%. And secondly, the refined oil duty rate has to increase by at least 25%. So that the refining of the veg oil takes place in India and not abroad. Value addition becomes in India, make in India remains there. And at the same time, to support the farmer, overall crude oil, crude oil duty also has to go up. So let's say, for example, I can tell you, crude oil duty is 5.5 now. So it needs to go to at least 20% in June, July somewhere when the government's going is there. And refined oil duty, which is there 13.75 right now, it needs to go to at least 32.5 to 35%. Then we can say the whole sector will be well balanced. Country will have indigenous production. Make in India in the refining sector will happen, and justice for everybody will be given at that time.
All right. Right now, we're just taking it very easy. We know, pardon me, we know it's an election year, and we do know that government has its priorities quite set there. My other question really is about the per capita consumption that we have in sense of edible oil in India. What is it right now, and where do you see it growing going forward?
Manisha ji, edible oil, that's a very heartening thing that because of the lower prices and 10-year low veg oil prices, the edible oil consumption is really shot up. We saw 10% increase in consumption in the year 22-23. From annual consumption of 235 lakh tons, we reached 265 lakh tons.
Okay.
And I believe with the population growth of about 1.5, 1.8% per year and the income GDP growth of 6.5 to 7% per year, I believe consumption is definitely going to go by minimum 3% per year. And minimum 3% per year means we require 1 million ton, 10 lakh tons veg oil additionally every year. So from 265 lakh tons, we will go to 275, then we'll go to 285. And next 5 years, our consumption will cross 300 lakh tons by year 2028. So it's going to be, India is one of the the largest
importer. But
in the world.
But Mr. Barjoria, will that continue? Will we continue to be the largest importers for the next 3 and 5 years as well? I mean, there have been various government statements suggesting that we should get some kind of self-sufficiency here.
Manisha ji, as I said, the consumption is going to increase by 10 lakh tons minimum per year. And whatever steps government takes to increase the local production, and now you see last 2 years nothing could happen. But let's say hypothetically next coming years, government takes very positive steps and help farmers. Then we can increase the local oil production by 10 lakh tons. So whatever is the incremental consumption, we can have the incremental local production. So import will have to remain at 165, 170 lakh tons. And I think with this kind of import, we will remain the world's #1 importer. While I must say, China is world's #1 importer of seeds, soya seeds. China imports more than 100 million tons of soya seeds. They have a large crushing industry, port-based crushing industry, and they require soya meal for their poultry consumption, and they require soya oil for human consumption. So China is the world's largest importer of oil seeds, 100 million tons. India is world's largest importer of oils, 16.5 million tons. So this is how both the populous countries having more than 1.4 and 1.42 billion population have to rely on imports. That's
absolutely.
reality.
Well, that point is well taken, Mr. Barjoria. Thank you as always for your time. So clearly not a very good news, but as it's an inflation year, it's an election year, a lot of steps on the inflation would be taken. But as Mr. Barjoria said that after June or July, they are anticipating that the government will roll back some of these measures and let the industry breathe going forward.